Los Angeles, 1968. Bruce Lee walks into the LAPD Central Division to give a witness statement about a minor traffic accident when Officer Davis, 20-year veteran, badge number 2847, hears Bruce's accent and says loud enough for the entire precinct to hear, "Why don't you go back to China where you belong? We don't need more of you people here." Every cop in that station stops. Every civilian turns to look. Bruce has a choice. He can stay silent, file a complaint later, avoid confrontation, or he can respond right now, in front of everyone, knowing that challenging a cop, especially as an Asian immigrant in 1968, could end very badly. What Bruce does in the next 12 seconds doesn't just shut down the racist comment. It forces Officer Davis to confront his own prejudice so directly that 15 years later, Davis becomes an advocate for immigrant rights and raises his own children to never repeat his mistakes. This is the story of how 12 seconds of dignified response dismantled 20 years of learned racism. But to understand why those 12 seconds mattered so much, we need to understand what Los Angeles was like in 1968. Los Angeles, 1968, March. The city is tense. The civil rights movement is in full swing. Martin Luther King Jr. will be assassinated in just 1 month. Race riots have burned through Watts 3 years earlier. The Vietnam War is raging, and anti-Asian sentiment is high. People see Asian faces and think, enemy, think foreigner, think doesn't belong here. The LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department, has a reputation. Not a good one. Stories of brutality, stories of discrimination, stories of officers who see badges as permission to enforce their personal prejudices. Not every cop, but enough that minorities know. When you interact with LAPD, you tread carefully. Bruce Lee knows this. He's lived in America for 8 years now. Came from Hong Kong in 1959, studied philosophy at the University of Washington. Married Linda, a white woman, which brought its own problems. Opened his martial arts schools. Made a name for himself. Got a role on the Green Hornet TV series. But fame doesn't protect you from racism. Success doesn't erase your accent. And in 1968 Los Angeles, being Chinese American means you're always walking a line between being accepted and being told you don't belong. March 17th, 1968, Sunday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Bruce is driving home from a training session, heading east on Sunset Boulevard. Traffic is light. He's in his black 1967 Ford Mustang, radio playing, thinking about his next class, thinking about choreography for an upcoming film project. Then, ahead of him, he sees it. 2 cars collide. Not a serious accident. No injuries. Just a fender bender. One car ran a red light, clipped the other car's rear bumper. Both cars pull over. Drivers get out, start arguing about whose fault it was. Bruce pulls over too. Not because he has to, because it's the right thing to do. He witnessed what happened, saw the red light runner clearly. If there's a dispute, his testimony could help. He approaches the 2 drivers, both white men. One in his 40s, business suit. The other younger, maybe 25, casual clothes. "Excuse me," Bruce says. "I saw what happened. If you need a witness statement, I can help." The business suit guy looks relieved. "Thank God. This guy ran the red light and he's trying to say I did." The younger guy protests. "That's not what happened." Bruce calmly explains what he saw. The younger guy ran the light. Clear as day. The younger guy realizes he's caught, gets angry, but doesn't argue further. The business suit guy thanks Bruce. "We'll need to file a police report. Would you mind coming to the station to give an official statement?" Bruce checks his watch. He has time. "Sure, which station?" "Central Division, downtown. I can meet you there." Bruce nods. "I'll see you there." 40 minutes later, LAPD Central Division, 251 East 6th Street, downtown Los Angeles. A large, imposing building, concrete and brick, built in the 1920s, looks more like a fortress than a public service building. Bruce parks his Mustang, walks up the front steps, pushes through the heavy doors. Inside, the station is busy. Sunday afternoon, but crime doesn't take weekends off. The lobby area has a front desk, several chairs along the wall, and hallways leading deeper into the building. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. The smell of coffee, old paperwork, and cleaning solution. Behind the front desk sits a sergeant. Older guy, gray hair, reading glasses. He looks up as Bruce approaches. "Help you?" "Yes, sir. I'm here to give a witness statement about a traffic accident on Sunset Boulevard about an hour ago." The sergeant nods, pulls out a form. "Name? Bruce Lee." The sergeant writes it down. Doesn't react to the name. Either doesn't know who Bruce is or doesn't care. "Have a seat. Someone will call you in a few minutes." Bruce sits in one of the plastic chairs along the wall. A few other people waiting. An elderly woman. A young couple. Everyone minding their own business. 5 minutes pass. 10 minutes. Then Officer Michael Davis walks into the lobby. Officer Davis is 42 years old. Been with LAPD for 20 years? Joined right out of high school? Came from a working-class Irish family in Boyle Heights. Father was a cop. Grandfather was a cop. Being LAPD is family tradition. Family pride. Davis is a big guy. 6'2", 220 pounds. Solid build. Crew cut. Clean-shaven. Uniform pressed and neat. Badge number 2847. 3 commendations for bravery. Respected by his colleagues. Known as a tough but fair cop. Except Davis isn't fair. Not really. He's a product of his environment. Grew up hearing his father complain about the neighborhood changing, about those people moving in. Learned early that some people belong and some people don't, and in Davis's mind, Asian immigrants don't belong. He doesn't think of himself as racist. Most racists don't. He thinks he's just being realistic, practical, protecting real Americans. Davis walks to the front desk, talks to the sergeant. The sergeant points at Bruce, traffic accident witness. Name's Bruce Lee. Davis looks over, sees Bruce, sees an Asian face. His jaw tightens slightly. He walks over to Bruce, doesn't extend his hand, just stands there looking down. You the witness? Bruce stands up, extends his hand politely. Yes, sir. Bruce Lee. I saw the accident on Sunset Boulevard. Davis doesn't shake his hand, just looks at it, then looks back at Bruce's face. Follow me. He turns and walks toward a hallway. Bruce follows. They walk through the station, past offices, past holding cells, the sounds of typewriters, ringing phones, conversations. The station is alive with activity. Davis leads Bruce to a small interview room. 4 walls, 1 table, 2 chairs, a window with blinds, a clock on the wall showing 3:45 p.m. Sit, Davis says. Not have a seat, just sit, like giving a command to a dog. Bruce sits. Davis sits across from him, pulls out a notepad and pen. So tell me what you saw. Bruce explains, clearly, concisely, the red light runner, the collision, the exact time and location. Davis writes it down, not looking at Bruce, just writing. When Bruce finishes, Davis looks up. Where are you from? It's not relevant to the accident. Bruce knows this, but he answers politely. I was born in San Francisco, actually, but I grew up in Hong Kong. Davis's expression changes, hardens. Hong Kong, so you're Chinese. Chinese American, yes. And what are you doing in Los Angeles? Again, not relevant, but Bruce remains calm. I live here. I teach martial arts. I work in television. Davis leans back in his chair, crosses his arms. Martial arts, like that karate stuff. Similar, different styles but related. And people pay you for that? Yes, sir. Davis shakes his head slowly. Must be nice, coming to our country, taking our jobs, living off our economy. Bruce's jaw tightens slightly, but his voice stays level. I'm an American citizen, sir. I contribute to this country. American citizen, Davis repeats, mocking the words. Got your papers, huh? Filled out the forms? That doesn't make you American. American is born here, raised here. Looks like this. He points to his own face. The room feels smaller suddenly, the air heavier. Bruce takes a breath. Officer Davis, I'm just here to give a witness statement. Yeah, you are. And once we're done, you know what you should do? Bruce doesn't respond, just waits. Davis leans forward, voice getting louder, aggressive. You should go back to China where you belong. We don't need more of you people here. Coming over, taking space, acting like you're the same as us. You're not. You'll never be. The words echo in the small room. Then Davis stands up, opens the door, says it again, louder this time. Loud enough for everyone in the hallway to hear. Go back to China. That's where you belong. The hallway outside goes quiet. Officers stop walking. Conversations cease. Everyone turns to look. Inside the interview room, Bruce sits completely still. His face is calm, but his mind is racing. This is the moment. The choice. Option A, stay silent. Finish the statement. Leave. File. A complaint later through proper channels. Safe. Legal. Avoids confrontation. Option B, respond now. Challenge a police officer in a police station, surrounded by his colleagues. Risk arrest, risk violence, risk everything. For most immigrants in 1968, option A is the only option. You don't challenge authority, especially not law enforcement, especially not when you're a minority, especially not in front of witnesses. But Bruce Lee isn't most immigrants. He stands up slowly, walks to the doorway where Davis is standing, positions himself so he's visible to everyone in the hallway, makes this public, deliberate. Then he speaks. His voice is calm, clear, carries through the entire hallway. Officer Davis, I'm going to tell you something, and I want everyone here to hear it. Davis's eyes narrow. You threatening me? No, sir, I'm educating you. The word educating hits Davis like a slap. A Chinese immigrant is going to educate him? In his station? In front of his colleagues? You don't get to educate me about anything, Davis says, stepping closer. Trying to use his size as intimidation, Bruce doesn't step back, doesn't flinch, just continues speaking. I was born in San Francisco. That makes me American by birth. I've lived in this country for 8 years. I've paid taxes every single year. I've never broken a law. I've contributed to my community. I employ people. I teach discipline and respect. And I've served as a cultural ambassador, introducing American audiences to Eastern philosophy and martial arts. Officers in the hallway are listening now. Really listening. Bruce continues. You told me to go back to China, but I'm already home. This is my country, just as much as it's yours. The difference between us isn't citizenship. The difference is that I understand what America actually stands for. And what's that? Davis challenges. America stands for the idea that it doesn't matter where you're born. It doesn't matter what you look like. What matters is what you contribute, what you build, how you treat others. That's the American dream. But you... Bruce looks directly at Davis. You're afraid of that dream. Because if America really is based on merit and contribution rather than skin color, then you lose your advantage. You have to actually earn respect instead of demanding it based on your appearance. The hallway is dead silent. Every cop watching, every civilian frozen. Davis's face is red, fists clenched. You don't talk to me like that. I'm an officer. You're an officer who just violated my civil rights, Bruce says calmly. You made a racist statement, in an official capacity, in front of witnesses. That's not just unprofessional. It's illegal. One of the senior officers, a lieutenant standing nearby, steps forward. Davis, my office, now. Davis looks at the lieutenant, then back at Bruce, realizes he's trapped, realizes he just made a massive mistake in front of everyone. The entire confrontation took 12 seconds, from the moment Bruce started speaking to the moment the lieutenant intervened. Just 12 seconds. But those 12 seconds exposed something. Davis had been hiding his entire career. His racism had always been there, quiet, private, expressed in small ways, denying promotions to minority officers, being rougher during arrests with people of color, making jokes in the locker room. But now it was public, undeniable, witnessed. Davis walks past Bruce, heading to the lieutenant's office. His career just changed forever. Bruce finishes giving his statement to a different officer, professional, courteous, no mention of the incident. Bruce doesn't file an official complaint. Doesn't need to. Everyone already knows what happened. As Bruce is leaving, the sergeant from the front desk stops him. Mr. Lee, I apologize for Officer Davis's behavior. That's not who we are. That's not what LAPD stands for. Bruce nods. I appreciate that. But I hope you understand. That is what some of your officers believe. Maybe not all, but some. And until the department addresses that, people like me will keep experiencing what I just experienced. The sergeant has no response. Just nods, ashamed. Bruce walks out of the station. Gets in his car. Drives home. He doesn't talk about the incident publicly. Doesn't give interviews about it. Doesn't use it to promote himself. But word spreads. Within the Asian American community. Within the martial arts community. Within Hollywood. The story of how Bruce Lee stood up to a racist cop in LAPD's Central Division. How he didn't back down. How he used words instead of fists. How he exposed prejudice simply by refusing to accept it. 15 years later, 1983, a house in Pasadena. Officer Michael Davis, now retired, sits at his dinner table with his family. His wife, his 2 daughters, both in their 20s now. His youngest daughter, Emily, has brought her boyfriend home. His name is David Chen, Taiwanese American. Born in Los Angeles. Computer engineer, polite, educated, respectful. The old Michael Davis, the one from 1968, would have objected. Would have made excuses. Would have let his prejudice ruin his daughter's relationship. But this Michael Davis doesn't object. He welcomes David, shakes his hand, asks about his work, treats him like family. After dinner, Emily pulls her father aside. Dad, I was worried about bringing David home. I know you used to have different views about people from other countries. Davis looks at his daughter, guilt in his eyes. I did have different views, wrong views, and I'm sorry you ever saw that side of me. What changed? Emily asks. Davis thinks for a long moment, then says, 15 years ago, a man named Bruce Lee walked into my station. I said something to him I'm deeply ashamed of. Something racist, something cruel. And instead of responding with anger or violence, which he easily could have, he responded with dignity. He educated me in front of everyone, made me see how wrong I was. Bruce Lee, the actor? Yeah, before he was really famous. When he was just a martial arts teacher trying to make a living, I told him to go back to China. And he told me that America belongs to anyone willing to contribute to it. That respect isn't about where you're born. It's about what you do. Davis's voice breaks slightly. I got reprimanded that day. Almost lost my job. had to go through sensitivity training, mandatory counseling. But more than that, I had to face what I'd become, who I'd been raised to be, and I had to decide if I wanted to keep being that person. Emily hugs her father. I'm proud of you for changing. I'm proud of you for choosing someone based on who they are, not what they look like. That's what Bruce Lee taught me, and it took me years to really understand it. But I'm grateful I learned it before I lost you. The story spreads differently this time, not as a confrontation, but as a transformation. Officer Davis becomes an advocate within LAPD for anti-discrimination policies, speaks at training sessions about his own past prejudice, mentors young officers, teaches them not to repeat his mistakes. He never meets Bruce Lee again. Bruce dies in 1973, but Davis writes a letter to Linda Lee after Bruce's death, apologizing, thanking Bruce for the lesson, explaining how those 12 seconds changed his entire worldview. Linda keeps the letter, shows it to Brandon and Shannon when they're older, proof that their father's impact went beyond films and martial arts, that he changed hearts, that he made people better simply by refusing to accept their worst instincts. Because that's what those 12 seconds created. Not just a confrontation, not just a victory, but a seed of change, planted in one man, growing over 15 years, eventually producing fruit in the next generation. Davis's daughter Emily marries David Chen. They have 3 children, mixed heritage, growing up in a family that celebrates diversity instead of fearing it. And it all traces back to 12 seconds in 1968 when Bruce Lee chose dignity over silence, when he chose education over anger, when he proved that the strongest response to racism isn't violence, it's truth. So here's the question. When have you stayed silent because speaking up felt too risky? When have you let someone's prejudice go unchallenged because confrontation seemed dangerous? And what if those 12 seconds of courage, those 12 seconds of refusing to accept being treated as less than, could ripple forward into generations of change? Bruce Lee knew something we forget, that dignity is its own form of power, that standing up for yourself doesn't require fists, that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is speak truth to authority, even when authority has a badge and a gun. Officer Davis learned that lesson. It took him 15 years to fully understand it, but he learned it, and he passed it on. That's legacy. That's what 12 seconds of courage creates. Not just one moment of resistance, but a lifetime of transformation, and generations of people who grow up in a world slightly better than the one before. Bruce Lee gave Officer Davis those 12 seconds, and Officer Davis spent the rest of his life proving they weren't wasted. What will you do with yours?